Okay. Hello, I'm Emma Powell. I'm a photographic artist. This is my exhibition, Stories Spun from Light. This is a mixture of both calotype and cyanotype photographs on fabric. The cyanotype process are the blueprints. These are an iron-based photographic process that's painted onto the material, so in this case, fabric. Once it's painted onto the material, it's light sensitive, so then I use a full-size digital negative. So I print the image onto similar to an overhead transparency, or it's a piece of acetate that's coated for inkjet printing. So I print onto that at the full size and then contact print. So I lay the negative directly on top of the photosensitive fabric and then expose it to UV light. And anywhere that the light touches turns blue, and anywhere that the negative blocks the light stays white. The same thing for the calotype print, except it's a different chemical process. So for calotype, it is iron and silver, and it results in this sort of sepia tone brown color. You can tone it to get a range of different colors, but for this I liked the warmth of the brown to come through. All of these images are photographs that I've taken. Some are manipulated and kind of collaged together to create a composite image, and some images are a little bit more straightforward. In all the cases, I wanted them to feel mysterious and to have a story behind them, but for that to feel a little bit unknown, so that the audience can kind of make up the story themselves. Many of these are taken off the coast of Savannah, Georgia. A couple were taken in Italy or other places. I work with another photographer, Kirsten Hoving. So when I'm in the photograph, which is a lot of the cases, she's the one taking the photograph. She happens to be my mother. So we worked together, and then we both take those images and make our own artwork with them. A calotype is very similar to a Van Dyke Brown print. There's a very similar chemical makeup. With a Van Dyke Brown, all the chemicals are mixed into one liquid that's applied, whereas calotype, you mix them sort of individually, and it requires a developer, whereas Van Dyke Brown has a slightly different developing process. But chemically, they're very similar. Yeah, I wanted to kind of mix it up. I normally do cyanotype. That's the one that I'm more well known for, and that I'm more sort of familiar with, but I've been working more and more on calotype, and I wanted to mix it up and have both a pop of the blue color, but not have the blue sort of overwhelm, and to have the brown. And I thought that they actually went fairly well together, so I liked that combination. So this image is titled Unlocked. This was shot in Italy, and it's actually a real scene. It was a pond that looks like a keyhole, and so I really wanted to emphasize that. So I digitally edited out the weeds and the plants that were all growing in the water, and just made this sort of light coming up through the bottom of the pond so that it would really look more like a keyhole, and really emphasize that. I added some gold thread that I sewed into the fabric, just to emphasize the sort of spots of light coming through in this print. Let's see. This one was photographed on Cumberland Island. This is actually a real image, so this is a double reflection. So I'm looking through a window, and through that window is a door. And the window that I'm looking through is reflecting the figure and the trees behind me. So I had to get my friend to pose and kind of direct him while I'm looking the opposite direction at the reflection in the mirror, in the window. What else? This was also on Cumberland Island. This is a ruin of a mansion that had burned down, that is still something that you can go and visit. But I really wanted to play around with the texture and the design of the architecture of the sort of crumbling building. So I used that as a backdrop for that scene. My exhibition, Stories Spun from Light, will be at Oric Gallery in Colorado Springs through the end of September. Come check it out.